Hello, this is Rob here from robcubbon.com, and I'm going to show you how to create a dog's face, a cartoon style dog's face in Illustrator. And we're going to do this illustration for merch by Amazon for a t-shirt, and the size we want to create is 4500 pixels wide by 5400 pixels deep. So we're in Illustrator and we go File New or Command N. We want the units to be in pixels. So 4500 by 5400 pixels. In the advanced section here, it's okay if you do everything in RGB, and it's definitely okay for merch by Amazon. So I'll just do everything in RGB, keeps it simple. So here is our Adobe illustration document, and I'm going to save it. So Command S or File Save or File Save As, and save it to the desktop. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is draw a circle. Very easy. On the right hand side here you'll see this square. If you click on that and hold down, you will see the ellipse tool, and with that tool you can click and drag. That will give you an ellipse. If you hold down Shift, then it will constrain it to an exact circle. And let's go back to the selection tool, which is the default tool in Illustrator, and then click on the pasteboard. And you'll may be able to see that there's a black line around that circle. And that is because here we can see that the fill is set to white. You see that white square there, and the stroke is set to black. You see the black square or black outline of square there. So all stroke means is the outline of a shape. And you'll also see that once we'd clicked on the shape with our selection tool, the color values are shown in the color palette on the right hand side. There's the white color values and there's the black color values. And if you wanted to fill the shape with a certain color, you could pick one out here in the spectrum along the bottom of the color palette, and if you wanted to get rid of that stroke, you could just click on that white box with a red diagonal bar there. That gets rid of the stroke. Let's click on the fill to put that to the forefront, and then we can choose another color for that fill. You could do this in the spectrum here, or you could do it by changing the RGB, which is red, green and blue values here. Now I'm going to delete that and show you that those two values for the stroke and fill are now saved. So if we were to do another shape, make it more of an oval shape, and yet another one, and go back to the selection tool, or V on the keypad, and then you'll see that stroke and fill that we set on the old shape, the circle, has been applied to this new shape. Let's select both of them again, and I'm going to try and find another color that's a bit darker so you can see what we're doing, and we can change it later. Now, as you can see, this doesn't look much like a dog. The two circles aren't aligned. So we'll go up to the top here to the control panel, and you'll see along here very useful set of icons. You can also see them here on the align palette. If any of these palettes are missing, you always find them up here. So there's the color palette and there's the align palette, but this is the default palette selection on the right hand side. All you should do is click this one, which will align the two shapes. Very useful. And let's pull that one out there. So that's our base, and we're going to draw eyes and nose and stuff on the top of it. We don't want to keep clicking on and off these things and maybe moving them by mistake. So we're going to put this on a layer and lock the layer. Here's the layers palette. Click there for a new layer, and we're going to click there to lock that layer. Now we can click, we can create a new shape, maybe an eye. I'll just put that into black quickly. Could do it in the swatches palette, could do it in the color palette. Back onto the move tool. Okay, it's not looking much like a dog. Let's see if we can create some droopy eyes. What I'm going to do now is another very important Illustrator technique. and that is to hold down the Alt or Option key with the Move tool selected, and you'll immediately see the cursor doubling up there. That means if I now drag this, it'll copy the other object. So Option and Alt key down, drag, and you've got a copy. Option key, and then while I'm dragging, hold down Shift, and it will constrain the axis of the movement. So that would be a good one to get it straight with the other object. But I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to draw another circle for the highlight of the eye. Go to the color palette or the swatches palette and make that white. And now I'm going to select both of them and I'm going to group. Object, Group, or Command G. And what that does is if I click anywhere on either the black or the white circle, and they both will be grouped together. So now I'm going to click Option, Move, and put it there. And there are my two eyes. And Doggy's looking a bit to the right now. So we're going to, again, make everything symmetrical, and the way we do that is to group these two together. And we're going to have to unlock the lower layer, select everything on both layers and click that align icon again, the horizontal central align, to put everything symmetrical. Now if we hadn't grouped the two eyes, I'm going to click on them now and go Command Shift G or Object Ungroup, and then we attempt to make everything symmetrical. Of course, Doggy only has one eye, so we'll group the eyes, Command G, and then horizontal align center, and everything is symmetrical. Okay, so Doggy's snout, let's go back onto that top layer and lock the bottom layer. Draw another black circle. We've got the fill and stroke on the base shape fill and stroke at the moment, so this is not going to show up. There's our snout, our little nose, and we'll go back into the color palette and give it a black fill. And thank God it's looking more like a dog now. Okay, we're going to have to go back to the both layers now, and once again horizontal align center. And we don't want the snout to be a complete circle, so here is the direct selection tool, the tool next to the normal selection tool, which is V, the direct selection tool, which is A on the keypad, and that will select any anchor point along the shape, which is incredibly useful. And then I can just drag this anchor point out to edit the shape. And if you wanted to flatten this oval out, you'd want to drag this down. Well, you want to keep it straight, and in order to keep it straight, the anchor point, I'm holding down Shift now, so it constrains the movement by 45 degrees. So we'll just drag it and hold it down there. Let's drag that one down so the snout is a bit more doggy-like. Okay, I'm going to apply some kind of whiskers type mouth thing to the snout now. And in order to do that, I'm going to get another layer to keep things simple. And I'm going to draw another circle. I actually want a semicircle with the direct selection tool. So I can just select one anchor point on the shape and delete it with my delete key. Boom. There we got a semicircle there. And we want a semicircular line. So we just want the stroke and we want an empty fill. So in order to make this stroke black, we can just drag that fill box over to the stroke. And now we've got a black stroke, we can't see it. And now we're going to empty the fill. And we can barely see it, so we're going to increase that stroke weight. And we want the ends of the stroke to be rounded corners. And to do that, in the stroke palette, we'll go Show Options, and we want the cap there, or corners, I think just the cap, to be rounded. I'll zoom in and show you what I did there. So you have a look at the ends of the line. we don't want them like that, we want them like this. Command 0 and move this little thing into the image, and of course we want to move it like that. Okay, I don't want this going right up semicircular, I want to cut it off there. I find it easier just to put another anchor point in and then delete. So to add an anchor point, you go onto the pen tool, hold down and add anchor point, but the quick key is plus on your keyboard, very easy to remember. Now I'm going to zoom in and I want that line to finish around there, so I'm going to add an anchor point there, and then I want to go to the direct selection tool, or A, to select the other anchor point and then hit delete. Command 0, zoom out, but that's more the effect that I want. And now we have to duplicate this over to the other side, but obviously we don't want to copy it in the way we did last time, because that would be wrong. Well, it doesn't look too bad, but it's going up too high on the other side. So we actually want a reflection. And to do that, we want to go into this tool, which is the rotate tool. We don't want to rotate it, we want to reflect it. Notice we've got the shape highlighted, it's selected, so we can double click on the reflect tool now. And we want to vertically reflect it. The axis of the reflection is vertical, so we want to hold up a mirror vertically to the shape, and we want it copied. And there it is. If we move that along now, holding down shift. Okay, so I'm looking at this, the nose is a bit too big and the eyes are a bit too small, so let's turn those other two layers off and select those eyes and make them a little bit bigger. I now want to move the mouth and the nose, and if I wanted to put them all onto the same layer, I could just drag that green square in the layers palette down. As you can see from the icon, that has now moved that shape, everything that was selected on that layer, down to the previous layer. So I can now turn off that layer free, it's redundant now. And shift click onto the nose and make that a little bit smaller there. Okay, this doggy needs some ears. So I'm going to do a new layer, click on that icon, or you could go up here, new layer, press return. I'm going to drag that down. I want it underneath the base layer. I want a shape the same color as the base, this shape. So I just click on it and there it is in the colors palette. Then click down onto the layer beneath it, and now I'm going to draw an ear. Let's do it with this circle, and I'm going to rotate it a little bit just with the normal move tool. Not sure what breed this is. Let's see if this ear can be a bit more pointy. Let's put a little bit of an inner ear in. So I'm going to copy that, edit copy or Command C. I'm then going to paste in front. Nothing's different, you can't see anything different. That's because the object has just pasted another copy of that object in the front, and I'm going to scale it down. So this inner ear thing pops out from behind the head. Let's have a pinky colour, narrow it a bit. Oh, looking a little bit like a horse, but never mind. We want another ear on the other side, so we use the reflection tool, double click. Of course we have to be happy with it by this point. Get the selection tool, V, the move tool, and I'm holding down shift after clicking on it. I'm just messing around with the colours here. I'm trying to make it look a bit more interesting. I've made the colour of this shape different, and I've changed the colour of these shapes, and I'm going to put some type on it now. And because I don't know anything about dogs, I'm going to call this a mongrel. I'm going to put it in the centered type. So in the control palette, this pops up. So we'll just click there once and type. You can hardly see it, of course. We'll go back into the move tool and scale it up, holding down the shift key, and it's in a default Myriad Pro font. Hold down Option, click, move, shift. Okay, everything isn't, so we'll select everything and horizontal align center. Okay, so we're going to save it now for Merch by Amazon. So we're going to go File, Exports. We're going to select PNG and use Artboards, Export, and 72 ppi. So we keep the correct proportions, correct size, and there we have it. Thank you very much. This is Rob from robcubbon.com. I'll see you in another video.